This is Paul Garcia of Project Spurs here with day 2 training camp update. So the San Antonio Spurs, had day 2 of training camp, and then afterward, Josh Richardson and Doug McDermott spoke with media. So what I did was I listened to all of their interviews for Richardson and Doug, and then what I did was I pulled a few quotes that I found interesting from both players. So first, let's go to one of the first quotes from Josh Richardson here. Let me pull this up real quick. So here we go. So Josh was basically asked, who do you think's going to take a big step this year? And so here was his answer. He says, I'd probably say Devin. So Devin Vassell. I think Keldon took a big step last year, and I think he's going to take another step this year, but I think people are going to get to see what Devin can do a little bit more this year with the ball in his hands and seeing how much more of a versatile game he has than just spot-ups. When asked, what has he seen specifically from Devin out on the court already, he says that, for one, Devin's been more vocal with the team. He's been involved in more of the huddles. Then as far as like his skills on the court, he says, coming off ball screens, Devin's been working on that, shooting his pull-ups, making plays for other guys, kind of stepping into a bigger role generally. So again, Josh Richardson, he says that he thinks Devin Vassell could have a big year this year for the Spurs. As far as, Josh was also asked, if that's the case, do you think Devin can be a good closer for this team? Considering that DeJounte Murray was traded in the offseason. I don't think he's scared of a moment, scared of a big shot. I think that's the biggest trait you've got to have to be in that position. So Josh thinks that Devin has some closing potential. So again, that's Josh Richardson on Devin Vassell, who he thinks is going to have a big season. Now, when we go over to Doug McDermott, who was also interviewed, he was basically asked about that point guard spot. Tre Jones is going to get a lot of those minutes, and most likely Josh Primo as well. So here's what Doug had to say about both players from what he's seeing early on in the offseason and training camp. He says on Josh Primo, obviously he's had a huge summer. He's dealt with a few little minor injuries here, but I know he's going to be ready to go. This is going to be a huge year for him. Body looks great. He looks a lot more confident. And then Tre, same goes for him. I've been here the last 2 weeks playing open gym, and I don't think Tre's lost a game, honestly. He's run the show every game. He's seeing the floor really well, and he's not hesitating shooting threes. So that's going to be big for him this year. And the part about the threes for Tre Jones is notable because he mentioned that himself just yesterday in his interview, where he says, his in the offseason also his defensively he's worked as well to be able to switch positions. So again, that was Doug on Josh and Tre Jones. And then Doug also says that, with this younger group, this faster, quick-paced group that the Spurs are going to put out on the floor this year, he thinks that there's more opportunity on offense for not just one or two players, but for multiple players on the team. So let's see what he said about the offense, the way they're going to play this year. He said, I think we're playing so fast, we're getting up and down, everyone's passing the ball, everyone's getting shots. So I think you're going to see a lot more pace this year, and there could even be more possessions because of that. So I'm really excited for that part. So again, there's Doug on what we can expect from the Spurs as far as being a more balanced offense this year. With if they're able to push the pace, like not only he's talked about, but Keldon Johnson's mentioned how they want to push the pace. Devin Vassell has mentioned that as well. So again, those are some interesting quotes that I found from Doug McDermott and Josh Richardson from day 2 of training camp for the San Antonio Spurs.